So what do you think of when you think of perfectionism? Leave a comment down below and let me know the first thing that comes to your mind. Most of us think about getting the test perfectly, doing a perfect presentation, having things lined up just so, or maybe winning the race. But there's a worse kind of perfectionism, one that cuts even deeper and is even more harmful to us. That perfectionism is trying to be perfect in your everyday words and actions and relationships. For quite a while I didn't start this channel for a few different reasons. One, because it's a lot of work. Two, fear of what people would say or people would think. But three, because I don't feel like I'm perfect every day. I don't feel like I do everything perfectly. And part of me was like, how can I give advice to somebody else? How can I tell somebody else how they should do something or the best way to do something if I'm not doing it myself every single day? Maybe I yelled at my spouse one day. Maybe I gossiped at work. Maybe I was rude and I didn't hold the door open for somebody. That's part of being human, making mistakes and learning from them and growing. Nobody can be perfect. We're not robots, we're human. There are many ways that this kind of perfectionism can hurt us. Perfectionism can stop us from taking risks because we feel like we might make a mistake or people might judge us if we fail. So there's the surface level with this where, you don't want to take on a project or you don't want to do something new because you feel like you might fail. But there's also the deeper level where you feel like maybe you don't want to get into a new relationship or you don't want to stay in a relationship because you feel like you're failing the person or you're gonna fall or you're gonna have a misstep along the way. So you just avoid that completely. Or, maybe things have gone wrong a lot in the past and you feel like, I don't want to take a chance with this relationship or I'm just gonna mess it up. You might want to make a new friend, but you feel like you might not say things perfectly, or maybe you stop talking with someone as much because you feel like you might have said something that hurt them and you're afraid of addressing it or you don't know how to address it. Especially with relationships, if you're feeling like you always have to be perfect, sometimes you miss out on a lot of great opportunities and other people miss out on a lot of great opportunities with you as well. These kinds of situations cut deeper because they get to who we are at the core of us. If you don't finish first in a race, then you can move on. You can try and do better next time. Sometimes we feel like if we're not perfect in our relationships, then, we failed as people and there's something inherently wrong with us. The thing is too, the bar is always set higher by somebody. There's always someone calmer, more put together, who can, or at least it seems, who it looks like they can handle it all, they can do it all. I'm pretty sure all of us have had someone in our lives, maybe a perfect person at the school or or who we think is perfect at work or a perfect neighbor. Thing is, sometimes people look like they're perfectly put together, but on the inside they might be falling apart. One of the worst things about this kind of perfectionism is that we're constantly beating ourselves up. We focus on our mistakes, the times we fell short. We feel like we're never good enough. We never measure up. We're never doing enough. We feel like we're fakes, like we're failures. It's a really rough way to live. I mean, how many of us are still beating ourselves up about things we did years ago, if you're old enough, decades ago? In high school, I got picked on quite often, and then there was this person that other people were picking on, and the focus was on them, and I still feel horrible today that I joined in on that, and that was like 20 plus years ago. If I ever met that person today, would I apologize? Of course, but I'm still beating myself up for being a shitty person way back then. And yes, it was wrong, but it's nothing I can change now. And beating myself up isn't going to help that person 20 years ago. So how do we overcome this perfectionism at least a little bit? First, we can understand that our imperfections connect us. We can be more understanding of other people's imperfections when other people fall short, being quicker to forgive other people because we understand how hard it is ourselves to do things right. Treat yourself like a friend. If a friend makes a mistake, are you going to berate them? Are you going to say how stupid they are or how awful they are or how they can't do anything right? A lot of the time we talk to ourselves so horribly and we treat ourselves so horribly when we make a mistake, but really it's just a human thing. We're all human, we all make mistakes. Second thing we can do is be realistic. Instead of thinking I have to never yell at my kid, or I have to always be perfectly sweet, or I'm never gonna say something rude to anybody or about anybody. Instead, if we start to yell, we can catch ourselves, we can take a deep breath, we can apologize to the person that we yelled at, we can try and think of ways that we can do things differently the next time. We can make a plan. Next time we want to say something rude about somebody, we take a moment and we say, does this really need to be said? And we learn to pause. I'm going to instead think of one positive thing about that person inside my head. Or if your thing is you lose your cool with your kids when, they're all running around and you've had a rough day at work and you come home and they want everything from you, instead of worrying that you're going to lose your cool or being more likely to lose your cool, you can be concrete. I'm going to go and stand by the window and look out the window and take a deep breath for 10 seconds. Think about something that makes you feel good inside, something that makes you feel calm, something that helps you recenter and refocus. We need to be realistic. We're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. We just need to learn from them. Another way you can overcome perfectionism is by focusing on your accomplishments. You can focus on your strengths and your successes. A lot of the time we have a habit of looking at our failures and the things that we're doing wrong and not noticing or realizing the things that we've done great, the things that we're doing every single day that are positive, that are good, that are having a good impact on the world and other people. Think about just even one thing you did right today. Maybe you said something nice to someone. Maybe someone bumped into you and they didn't say sorry, but you didn't get frustrated. You stayed calm. Maybe your kid spilled something all over the floor and you were patient and you helped them clean it up and used it as a learning opportunity for them so that they can learn, that they can make mistakes, and that's okay too. You can also strive for improvement and not perfection. The main thing is that you're learning from your mistakes. You're trying to grow. You're trying to do things differently. You're trying to make a plan so that when these things come up, that you know how to handle them better. Like honestly, think about a dog. If they poop on the rug or they chew something, they're not going to think 2 weeks later or 2 years later, oh my God, I pooped on the rug. What are they thinking of me? Or snapped at my human. What are they going to think of me? No, they're just going to learn not to do that anymore because they don't want the negative consequences of that. So, obviously it goes a little deeper when we're talking about humans. With humans, we don't want the negative consequences in a different way. On a deeper level, we don't want the negative consequences for our relationships with our friends and our family. So it's important to apologize if you've done something wrong, but it's important not to beat yourself up for the next week or month or year or decade about something. If it's something serious, then it may need to be addressed more than once, or you may need to do a little more than a simple apology to fix it or to try and make amends. The important thing is that you learn from your mistakes. You try not to make the same mistakes again, but we're going to make the same mistakes again. It's a fact of life. None of us can be perfect unless maybe you're Jesus or Mother Teresa or Gandhi. But I guess if you're Jesus, you're not really watching one of my YouTube videos. I'm guessing you have more important things to do in life, or maybe death. You just have to let go and move forward. Be kind to yourself and others. We all make mistakes. We're all going to continue to make mistakes. Leave a comment down below if you have any ideas, things you've done to help with perfectionism. Until next time, be weird, be wonderful, be imperfect, be you.